Ohayou gozaimasu, konnichiwa, konbanwa, for whenever you're listening to the Joshi Pod, your weekly podcast about the world of Japanese women's wrestling. Joshi Wrestling, I'm your host Eric Howard, coming to you from beautiful San Diego, California, and I want to thank you guys all for the kind words for last week's episode with Yappy. I really enjoyed chatting with her. Always enjoyed chatting with Yappy. And again, thank you so much for the positive feedback. We also released a bonus episode earlier this week with Tekla, who's back in Austria. She talks about her second tour with Ice Ribbon. So this past week's been a pretty strong Ice Ribbon week. This week, we have Emi Sakura and Akki doing some translation for us, and we're going to talk about the birth of ChocoPro. The last time we spoke with Emi was back in March. It's right before the lockdown, right before everything went sideways, and so we kind of start out from there where we left off in March to what has happened since we spoke in March to now. And the reason we're having Emi on this week again is because ChocoPro 50 is this coming Sunday in Tokyo, Sunday the 27th of September, 10 a.m. Japan Standard Time. It's Saturday Saturday night for most of us, including myself here in California. But again, going to have Emi Sakura on a little bit later with Akki doing the interpretation. And he's been a big part of ChocoPro as well. So he gives his 2 cents about what's been going on with ChocoPro. And it's more about the business than about the the in-ring work. So it's a fun. I really had a real fun chat. I had a real fun time chatting with Emi and Akki. And again, this Sunday, this was before it was announced that it was going to be AEW versus ChocoPro, whereas Emi and Riho are going to face Unimon and Mesa Ruga. And so we don't really talk specifically about that. We just basically talk about the transition from Gatoh Move to ChocoPro and how they did that and why they did that and the work in progress that it is. Speaking of May, in a couple of weeks, we'll have May and Akki, the best bros, on. And next week, guys, we're going to have Session Moth Martina. I really love the chat I had with Session Moth. It was more Martina than Session Moth, which I really, really appreciated. I wasn't sure what I was going to get going into that interview, but I'm very happy with the way it turned out because, you won't. Gimmicks are a funny thing that in a way you kind of want them to be the gimmick, and then kind of in a way you don't. And I'm very happy Martina was Martina and wasn't Session Moth during the interview. But that's next week. Again, this week, guys, we got Emi Sakura and Akki talking about ChocoPro. And guys, I'm going to put links to the ChocoPro show this weekend. You got to watch it. Emi Sakura and Riho versus Unimon and Mesa Ruga at Ichigaya Chocolate Square. AEW versus ChocoPro 50. You can see it on YouTube Live. Guys, again, thank you so much for all the kind words for the Yappy show, for all the kind words for the Tekla show. Looking forward to this last month here with all you guys, and stay tuned. We got more fun stuff. I'm trying to end with a bang, so stick with me here, and we will talk to you guys next week. Arigatou gozaimasu. Hey guys, back here at the Joshi Pod, and very excited to have back on the show, both of these people back on the show, Akki, Emi Sakura. Welcome back to the Joshi Pod.
Hey!
Hi, this is Emi Sakura. Hello.
And this is Akki. I will be mostly helping with the translations. So thank you very much for having us back.
So last time we spoke was March 24th at Ichigaya Chocolate Square.
Yes.
And it's crazy how much the world has changed since that day.
Yes, that is very, very true. 一番最後に話したのは3月14日で、
覚えてる。
Ichigaya Chocolate
I
Square
remember.
で話したんですけど、その後では世界がちょっと結構変わっちゃったねって。
あの日、毎日のように会ってた彼に。
誰のに？
いろんな会場にいたから。
So like that day, we met, like she met you in like those days. Like she met you a lot because you were in like a lot of venues. like everywhere wrestling was happening, he was there. So that was like very, how do you say that? Like a very unique way of meeting you at Ichigai at the end of it.
That's the day Masa got hurt.
Yes.
That's
most
so.
Yes, that is true. We were
I
there
remember,
as well.
Yeah, I remember that day. Yeah, it's terrible. So on the 24th of March, when we spoke, was ChocoPro even a thought at that point?
24日に話したときに、
うん、
私、なんかチョコプロはこの時考えてもなかったんでしょう、ね。
ああ、全く考えてなかった。
No, nothing. No law.
Which is amazing. How did you pivot so quickly from Gatoh move to ChocoPro?
どうやってそんなすごいなんかそんなに短い時間で何かガトムーブからチョコプロにバーって移動したんですか
？So much energy.
So much energy.
Yes. Cheer style.
Yes, cheer style. She says, "Just go all the way."
But how did she come up with the concept of the no fans, the live YouTube?
そんな風にやろうとかが YouTube でやろうとかが何かスーパーチャット使おうとかどうやってこれが見つけたんですか？どうやって考えたんですか？何があって？
今思い出しても、自分がどうやったら思いついたのかわからないけども、プロレスを止めないためにはどうしたらいいかっていうことを考えた。
She says, even if she remembers now, she really isn't sure like how she came up with it. It's just like something happened. But the only thing she was thinking at this point is like, okay, what we can do to not stop wrestling. Like she was just only thinking about that thing, and that is the answer she arrived at. Like, okay, let's do what we can, and this was something that she could do, and she just rolled with it.
That's very interesting, and you kicked it off with a pretty crazy style, yes. Having Minoru Suzuki at Ichigaya Chocolate Square.
結構めちゃくちゃな感じで始まったんですよね。ミノル鈴木さんを呼んで。
しかもその鈴木みのるさんをオファーすることもすごくオファーが成功したこともミラクルなのに、鈴木さんに iPhone で撮影するっていうのを伝えた時は一番緊張した。
She says the very fact that she was able to even like book Minoru Suzuki and him accepting it was almost a miracle. But the fact when she told Minoru Suzuki that she was going to film him on an iPhone, that was the most she was the most nervous at the whole situation in telling him that she's gonna film him with an iPhone.
Did he even know what Ichigaya Chocolate Square was at the time?
鈴木さんが何かチョコフラバーを知ったんですか？その前に。
知らないと思う。
She doesn't think he knew.
ただ彼はマットでやるよって言った時に、どこでもいいよって。
But when she told him that he's going to be wrestling on a mat, he said anything like anywhere is fine.
Well, for him, a mat, he's very at home on a mat.
何かマットでは結構彼はどっちのような感じじゃない？
でも。ああいう状況じゃなかったら鈴木みのるさんも絶対出てくれなかったと思うから2ヶ月ニュージャパンが止まってたっていうことが私にとってラッキーだったと思うし多分今同じオファーしても通らないと思うから本当にラッキーだったね。
She says, but if the situation were not that, she didn't think that match could have happened. He wouldn't have accepted the offer. The fact that New Japan hadn't done a show in 2 months was very lucky for her. Well, it is a very bad thing, but like in that situation, that is one of the biggest reason it worked. And like the fact that there was no matches going on, the fact that the situation was in like there was no other thing, like a lot of things needed to align for him to take that offer. Even if she does the same offer now, it's really hard. It will be really, really hard to make it happen. Again.
Just right place, right time, right situation.
なんかまあいい時間でいい情報でいい感じでできたってことですね。
Yes, lucky girl.
Lucky girl, she says.
Very smart girl.
Yes. I mean.
So how did you come up with the concept to shoot it with an iPhone and to decide to go live on YouTube? How did you guys how did that come up?
でもその YouTube や iPhone をコンセプトにしたんじゃなくて私たちができるものは何かなってでストリームもやったことがなかったしカメラも持ってなかったしどうやったら放送できるのかも分かんないしもうとりあえずこれでやっちゃえと思っただけかな。
She remembers thinking like it's not that she thought about doing it on YouTube. It's not that she thought about doing on iPhone. It's just that they have never streamed. They had no idea. The easiest thing to do was YouTube. It was the easiest, and all she had was an iPhone that she knew could do a live stream with. So she's like, okay, this is like this is the only thing that we can find that we can do, and let's just do it. Like it wasn't like by design. It's just that was the only thing she was capable of doing at that point, and she was not gonna stop. So that's how it's gonna go.
So Akki, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Did you ever think you'd be wrestling Minoru Suzuki?
No, she told me like how many hours ago? Like maybe like 18 or like 20 hours before I wrestled him. And by the way, in front of a camera to boot. Like she rolled her camera first before she told me, so she can post that video on SNS.
So
yeah,
what did you think about wrestling him? How'd the match go for you?
Well, pretty standard. Like it was most of like a very traditional Japanese like pro main. Like that's the kind of match that legends have with newcomers. Like you gotta show how much you need and mean to it. You gotta stand up to him. Like the moves and the match and the like that, it matters at the end of it. The first thing that matters is that the very courage and like the very spirit that like the Purusa spirit everybody calls it. Well, like the very fact that I am standing up to him is what like the most important part of the match. And I hope in that sense it went pretty well. It got received by at least the regular fans very well. I couldn't read all the Japanese stuff, and the stream got down, so we couldn't read any comments. But well, as far as I know, like a very, very like it's almost like I was like a what is it, like a young like somebody who graduated a dojo and just had a match with the master of the dojo. That's what the kind of match it was. In that sense, it actually helped a lot. My conceptualization of Purusa was very different from him, and that taught me a lot during that match and the makings of that match. So it pushed me like 1 year ahead of my journey just in that one day.
So after night one, what were you guys' thoughts after the whole night was over? What did you guys think? Like, this is a possibility, or this was crazy?
最初の1日が終わって、もうダウンになっていろいろいっぱいあったじゃないですか。これ終わってからの何と考えたんですか？これできるかできないとか、可能性とかが。これどうやろうというか。
なんか一番はダウンになった時にファンの人がもっと楽しんでくれたこと、その伝説だみたいな感じで言ってくれた時に、とりあえず失敗してもいいから挑戦しようと思ったのは、最初にそのチョコミントさんたちがそういう風にしてくれたからかな。
She says, like when it went down, like she thought of a lot of things, of course, but when it went down, every single one of the Choco Mints, like the people who were watching ChocoPro, went like, "Oh, this is legendary!" Like the fact that it went down, kind of elevated its status in somehow because so many few people got to watch it, like while it was happening. Like the very thing, it made it like very peculiar, and the fact that people still enjoyed it, even though it went down, nobody was angry. Most people was like, "Oh, this is like the fact that it was happening was legendary, and the internet couldn't take it." Almost like, so everybody took it in a positive way. Even though, so that told Emi Sakura that it's okay for us to fail. Even if we fail, everybody would enjoy it. So that gave her the courage to like okay, we can just keep challenging. Like it's okay for us to fail. And now that people didn't respond in that way, so she's just like, okay, if I'm okay to fail, I'm not stopping. And that's like, okay, now we can challenge us more. And she just decided to keep going with it.
It almost was like a horror movie with him just running around and just being the horror monster, you know?
Yeah, it really was. 何か本当にホラームービーみたいだった。何かモンスターが来てて、これはどうやってこのモンスターを何か取るかっていう感じがべちゃべちゃなって、どうなんだったのとか戻ってきてとかいろいろそんな感じだったって。
私はなんかアッキーが試合してるのを見て、対戦相手私じゃなくてよかったなって思った。怖かった、鈴木みのるさんが。
She says, when I was wrestling him, she was happy that she didn't decide to wrestle him herself. He was pretty scary.
あと、
that is a quote, Eric.
鈴木みのるさんがサイン、T シャツにサインしてくれたことが、後に世界中でじゃんけんトーナメントやったのも楽しかったし、あとは鈴木さんが手を洗ったから、それからエンディング、チョコプロのエンディングが決まったのも、彼は本当にすごいなと思った。
Well, she was very happy when he signed the shirt because everybody had like a name shirt, and he signed it and said like, please, like give it to like a fan or something, in some way. And like the washing of the hand at the end is like, okay, now we found our ending. Like we have like a show now. We have the basic structure of a show from this. Even though everything was just happening because it was crazy, somehow she found a structure in it.
So talking about that, when she decides to put the cards together now for each of the shows, how does she decide, or does she think of it differently than before when the crowd was there, and how she decides to book shows now?
Okay. 何か今チョコプロの感じでは試合何かカード決めたりときに、いやショーを作ったりときに前とちょっと違うんですか、お客さんがやるときにガトム何か試合のときに今の対戦カード決めたりとか、そんな風にショーの流れが作るかとかに考えてるときに前とちょっと違うんですか？
前よりは流れが早い気がする。もうすぐなんだろう、毎日人前でコメントをする機会とかがあるから、1週間に1回じゃなくてもっとファンと近くなった気がして、ファンの声を聞き入れやすくなったかな、前より。
She says she definitely feels like the pace is very high, like it's a very very fast paced compared to before. She could take her time, but nowadays, like if you sit down for 1 second, if something has passed you, like it's very fast in that sense. But also like because she can talk to like fans literally every day now. She hears from them. She gets to like talk to them. So she's like it to her. It became way more easier to communicate to fans compared to before when she really had fans who would come to shows. Like now to her, it's like it's easy to read. What would be good or not, what would she like to do next? She can read that much better in the energy of the crowd now because she's literally every day has to like have like a connection with the crowd.
So when she's bringing people in, I mean, she brought Akki in pretty early into the ChocoPro. I mean, is she picking people that she thinks would fit well, or she just is she specifically picking people she thinks would fit well in this format?
何がゲストを呼ぶときにこのフォーマットにうまくいくかなって考えてゲスト呼んでますか？いや何か他の違う考え方とかあるんですか？ゲスト呼ぶときに。
なんか今やってるプロレスが今までやってきたプロレスとちょっと違うから、新しいことに挑戦しようと思ってくれるかなと思う人。
So she says, because the wrestling we are doing right now is very different from what we were doing before. So the people she thinks will think that it is a fun thing and will try to challenge it as honestly as possible and as like creatively as possible. She would like she thinks of like, oh, that person would think that way, and she tries to call them.
今まで私たちはプロレスラーは、リングは四角いからお客さんは必ず4方向から見てる、全部を見られてるよっていうことを言われてたのに、今度カメラに映らなければ存在しないんだよっていう価値観に置き換わったのが私たちにとっては一番大きいかな。
She says, for wrestlers, for us all this time, the fact that we are wrestling from all four sides we are watching, there was nothing that will not be seen. It's said very like a lot in Japanese pro wrestling. Like everything you do will be seen. But now we do a kind of wrestling that if it's not in front of the camera, it doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is in front of that lens and the people who are watching. That is the only thing that exists. That was the biggest change or biggest outcome of everything that has happened in this wrestling thing that I've changed for her, and what she has actually practically changed in wrestling as well.
What was the reaction from the wrestling community in Japan after seeing ChocoPro?
ChocPro を見たら日本のプロレスのソサイティがどんなリアクション来たんですか？
なんか最初はなんか面白いことやってるなみたいな感じだったけど、いろんな団体がやれるようになったから、あそこはもうなくなったみたいな感じかな。
She says in the beginning everybody it was like, oh, they're doing something interesting, like they're doing something like nobody has done before, but now that because everybody started doing it after we did it, so it was like, that place it doesn't exist anymore. They went back to like the Ichiga Chocolate Square went back to not existing very soon, just like before.
So having Akki as being so prominent in English speaking, how important is that to the success of ChocoPro?
ChocPro にはアッキーがいてて何かもう 日本の以外の世界に繋がったことができるのはどれほどの大事って思ってますか？
Very, 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 very important.
She's only saying that because I'm like sitting right here. That is the only reason she's saying that.
こんなにも世界が小さいんだって感じたことはないし、今までいろんな国の人に見てもらいたいってことがいきなり叶い出してびっくりしてる。
She says she never realized or thought that the world could be so small and so close all the time, and also like the fact that she couldn't even imagine like all these countries watching us all of a sudden, and it just became a reality in like 1 second, and she is incredibly surprised, like humbly surprised with it.
So a lot of the fans, well, the ones I see on YouTube and the chats and stuff, many are English speaking fans.
Yes, なんかチャットとかで YouTube で毎日見てもほとんどが英語のファンです、イギリスの。Yeah, very much.
Do the Japanese get it as much as the foreign, like get the whole concept and the idea of ChocoPro as much as the foreign fans do?
これはちょっと面白い。外国のお客さんが多いんじゃないですか、結構。だから多いというように考えると、日本のお客さんも坂さんがやりたいこととか、このコンセプトを同じように取ってますか、外国のお客さんのように。外国のお客さんが、もう何かこれからどういう何々やりたかったとか、いろいろ面白さを分かってて、すごい言ってるんですけど、日本のお客さんも同じですか？
私のことを好きなお客さんはもうみんな日本のお客さん一概に来てくれてたから、70人、100人が私の精一杯かなと思ったけど、その一概に来てくれるお客さんが英語でツイートし始めたりとか、一緒になんか世界のプロレスの友達を作ってるような感じがして、ファン同士が仲良くしてるのを見るのはすごく嬉しい。
She says, first of all, like all the fans that loved her wrestling were coming to Ichigai Chocolate Square, like all the time. Like that was her crowd. So she always thought 100 people was her limits before now. And she thought when they would come. But like when this ChocOPro started, all of those 100, like all those people who would come to Ichigai, they started tweeting and like messaging in English. And the fact that her fans are now making friends with the ChocOPro new fans, that is the most beautiful and like fun thing she finds in everyday life right now. She's like them having friends all around the world because of ChocOPro. They talk in English, like they comment in English and they do like tweets and stuff, and they like try to understand each other. Like the connection between those two fans, new and old, that she has always had in Ichigai Chocolate Square is very fun to her.
Yeah, even there in Ichigai, when I've met fans there, they were very open and inviting to me, so I'm not surprised that happened.
彼も一概来た時にみんな他の何かガトムーブのお客さんがすごい優しくてすごい何かようこそようこそって感じだったから、まあこれは全然私はびっくりしてない。もうこれはそれなる最初からそんな優しいお客さんだった。
でも私ひどい怒ってることがあって。
But then she was angry about something. She is.
私たちが何の話をしててもお客さん同士が勝手に盛り上がってる。違う話でも。
Yeah, she says there's only one thing is that the withdrawal is in Ichigai she could just say nobody talks about it outside and nobody did, but now no matter what she says, people kind of runs with it. Even the thing that she's trying to hide are all out now. There's nothing to hide now. So that is the only part she's like, god damn it.
So
hold on a sec, Chris. 彼が言いたかったのはエジガーのファンだけじゃなくて他の日本のお客さんが今来てるんじゃないですか、そのお客さんが同じように撮ってるんですか、チョコプロ外国が撮ってるような。
なんか今まで見たかったけど見ようっていうところまではいかなかったと思うんだけども、すごくハードルが下がったというか、一回見てもらったらその楽しさが伝わるのかなと思って、でファンの人が自分が楽しいだけじゃなくて、もっとこの楽しさを広めたいと思ってくれてるような気がする。
So I actually asked her one more time. I'm like not just the Ichigai fans, like the whole like a Japanese community of wrestling fans. Like how do they feel like that? Because like not only 100 people watch it, like thousands of people watch it, especially on the archives and stuff. So she thinks like the hurdle of watching it has become very low. Like even if you wanted to watch it, let's just say you have to stop work, like you have to take a day off, or you have to come from outside, or you have to cancel any other show. Like now, because it is available all the time and everything, the hurdle has gotten very low, and a lot of people are watching it. And she's confident that if somebody watches it one time, they can understand the fun part of it. It might not be for them, but they will understand what he's trying to convey any show they watch. So with that, the fans not just only trying to enjoy it themselves, like before they will come to the show, enjoy it and go back. People are trying to get other people to enjoy it too, and that is how she feels right now is happening in the fans of like what she does in ChocOpro specifically. So that's what she's like really happy about.
So how many shows did it take you guys to hit your stride and kind of get comfortable with what you're doing?
ChocOpro にやり始めて何個賞がかかったんですか？これはもう私たちはもうなんとかもうそんな感じで私たちができるようにリズムが見つけるまでには
なんだろう、どうなるか分かんなかったから、もう次で最後かもしれないっていうのをずっと思い続けて、なんとか今やってるから、もうペースも何もまだつかめてない。
She says, like, because every time we would do a show, we would feel like the next really could be the last. That is why there was no schedule. This is like the end of season 3 is the only time we have actually released a schedule. Because we always thought the next show really, really, in all honesty, could be the last show. And so there was no pace or like there was nothing. This was just like, okay, the next, if we can do the next, that is good enough. And that is how we would just keep going. It like the rhythms and everything was very hard to like get. And I think like that is just from me. This is for me. I think that is one of the biggest reasons why the quality and the level of ChocOpro's shows are so high, and why the match cards are so high. Instead of like building 1 year for that match, they do that match in like every week. Every week there's like one main event from a ring show happening casually in ChocOpro. I think that is also because the last show really could be the last, so every show needs to be better than the last one. Like that is how they make the match, and that is how I think the ChocOpro's pace is so high, and ChocOpro feels like such of a like every show almost like a big show, the way it's booked and the way like there's always big matches happening. I think that is biggest like because they cannot sit back and like take their time in doing okay, we can hold on it. Like they can't hold on it. So I think that's why that is like my own observation in why this feels such fast paced.
So I mean, Choco, you guys are a business. You guys need to survive. How did you guys monetize early with the ChocOpro? How are you guys able to monetize that and survive?
なんかChocOproビジネスじゃないですか。でこれは最初の時にどうやってこれでお金できるかとかどうやってサバイブできたんですか？
いや、最初はお金が売買するだけで。
In the beginning, she just lost money on every show, specifically the first one because the stream went down, so none of it could be monetized. 最初の時一番ひどかったんですよね。全部なくなったんですよね。The first one was zero. The almost on the side of the internet, like because the stream went down, like all the things that they could have done with the videos and all the things that they could have done with the at least the media of it was all gone. But after that, I think she says in the beginning, all she did was just how do you say that? Like she just kept losing and losing more and more in the beginning.
So
それが今回びっくりしたのが、私たちは試合でスーパーチャットでみんなが応援してくれると思ったけども、毎日続けていたトークの方にスポンサーがついて、チョコチーノさんたちがまず私たちを助けてくれた。
She says she always thought like that they would do matches and people would like kind of super chat for those matches and that would how they would monetize it. But the fact that on the everyday live streams, people started becoming Chocochinos and they kind of started supporting even the live streams we do every night. That in the forefront of the beginnings, that helped a lot because it became like outside of the shows, they would had like a little bit of monetizations.
So you guys are going live with your matches. You guys also start going live with watch-alongs and things like that.
Yeah.
What was the concept behind it? What was the idea behind being is it just getting more and more content out there, more and more and more and more?
じゃあ試合だけじゃなくていろいろライブやり始めたんですか？何かウォッチングパーティーとかが普通のライブとかがチョコトークとかいろいろやり始めたんですから、これにどうしてそんなにやれたんですか？もっともっとコンテンツがアップしたかったとか、これがいろいろやりたかったとか、もうやればやるほどやっちゃうとか、何を考え方でこれやってたんですか？
何がお客さんが見たいかが全然わからないから、とりあえず一回全部やってみようと思ってスターダムをやってみたり、例えば、 違う団体のウォッチングパーティーを見るとかだったら、ガトームーブだったらありえなかったけど、チョコプロだったら、まあ、やっちゃえっていう感じになった。
She says she had no idea what the people wanted to watch. So in the beginning, all she was like, okay, let's just do everything we can. And we will find people. Like we even did like a stardom watching party. So like that was an impossibility in Gatoh Move. There's no way they could have done something like that. But in ChocoPro, it's something like, okay, let's do it. Like let's just go with it. Like let's bring it. I think that's the feel she has. I think she has found a bit of freedom in ChocoPro as well of all the creative things she could do.
女子ポットさん何が一番好きって聞いて。
What do you like the most in everything that they do, Joshi Pod?
I really enjoy just the wildness and unpredictability of it all. I enjoy all of that. I really enjoy Emi and May and Akki, all three of you guys, your chemistry together when you guys do the live stream as well. You guys have a wonderful chemistry. May's a star. May's personality is very much a star, and Emi's adorable too.
May-chan is so fun.
You're fun too.
Yo.
何かでもめいちゃんがスターって言われたけど、さくらさんは可愛いって言われたんですよ。
本当？
アドラボ。
なんかアッキーに暴力ばっかり振るってるけど、そんな本当の私じゃないから。
She said, even though she's like beating me up almost every stream, she says that's not how she really is. By the way, that is a false statement. She really is. That is a false statement.
That's what we like seeing. We like seeing friends together and enjoying each other's company. That's something that people like to see.
3人友達が一緒に何かいい時間やってるのは見るのが一番楽しいかな。
でも私たちもともとはそんなにたくさん話したり仲良くしたりとかすることはなかったんだけど、最初は多分ぎこちなかったと思う。
She says, but in the beginning we were not spending this much time together. Like we were on like our relationship was more professional than how it is now. So in the beginning, there might have been some like rough patches we hit, but if she's saying in the beginning, that kind of means like now it's different. So yeah.
Yeah, you guys went from coworkers to friends.
何か一緒に働いてる人から友達に移動したっていう感じですね。
私がWWE のウォッチングパーティーをしたときに、一つのツナ缶を3人で分けて食べたとき。私は何とも思ってなかったんだけど、すごいチョコミントさんが、かわいそうっていうか、そういう風になった時に、私たち仲良しになれると思った。
She says, when we were doing a WrestleMania watching party, we ate one tuna can with 3 people, like we shared a tuna can, and like Emi Sakura didn't thought anything of it, but all the Choco and the audience members went like, oh, like no, like come on, like you have to share one can. No, but like that was really special to her. She was like, okay, now like I think we can become friends. Like that was where she see the light of hope in that despair.
So I think you guys kind of hit your stride at Choco 16 when Asuka wrestled May in the main event.
Yeah.
How special was that having Asuka there in for that event?
何か彼に対しては多分すごいわーってもう何か一気にレベルが変わったのは、チョコプロ16にアスカが来た時、めちゃんとトライアルの時、これはどうだったんですか？結構見た目のがすごい特別だったんですから、桜さんとか何か私たちチョコプロに対してどうだったんですか？
私はその日大会をやるかやらないかをすごい迷っていて、もし私たちもやるかやらないかを迷ったし、彼女が来ないっていう、もう行けないっていう風になったらそれはそうだなっていう風に思ってたんだけど、彼女がいや今日は絶対もう試合をします、もう家出ましたっていうのを聞いた時に迷った自分がそっか私迷っちゃったけどって言って彼女の強さに引っ張られたから、なんだろう、試合をする前からもう戦いが始まっていて、私たちはなんか人生を戦ってるんだなみたいにも思った。その日。
She says, in the beginning, the biggest thing was that she was like incredibly hesitant and like was very much, how do you say that, thinking it over a lot. Like she was really, really going over it more and more. Like should she do the show or should she not? Like she was really, really uncertain about it. And like there was a very good possibility Asuka will not come. Like it was a real thing that she could just say I can't, like I just can't today, like I can't do anything to it. Like there was a very good possibility of that, But so when she called her up, the first, like, she said, okay, let's talk to Asuka first. That was her first thought. She called her up. And before she could say anything after calling, she said, I will do the match today. I've already left my home. I will be there in a bit. So, and she goes like, okay. She realized that, okay, the show has started. Like when she called her, like, okay, the question of we doing the show, not doing the show has ended. Like the show has started, the fight has started, and she kind of really like stuck to her that everybody is like literally fighting the life right now. We're fighting the life we live every single day. Like that hit home hard, especially making that ChocoPro as well, because like it is a way of surviving. Like it might look very fun, but ChocPro is a way of that for them to surviving and finding a new way, and that both of those together like hit like, okay, we are really fighting this thing out every day.
So Emi's seen highs and lows in the wrestling world. I mean, what is her thoughts on what happened with Hana Kimura?
坂さんは何か自分の長いプロレスの人生に何かハイもローも全部見たことあるんですから、花ちゃんになったのはどうと思いますか？
私はその彼女ほど注目を集めるポジションに行ったことがないからそれは分からないけれども、なんて言っていいかな。
She says she has never been to the height of attention that Hana-chan got, and so she can't really speak from that standpoint. But like how she can talk about it is really difficult for her.
でも彼女は、なんだろう、新世代ニュージェネレーションっていうか、私はこのコスチュームを着たい、この曲を使いたい、この技を使いたいっていうのをバンバンそのなんだろう、先輩と後輩っていうのが日本はあるけど、そういうのを飛び越えてスターのオーラみたいのがあったから、彼女が続けてなんだろう、彼女と同じ世代の人たちが新しいプロレスを作っていくんだなっていうのは彼女の存在で感じていた。
She says, but like she was like a new generation in a sense. Like I want to use this move. I want to use this music. I'm gonna do this. Like there's a very strong like seniors and juniors like senpai and kohais in Japan, but she like super past all that. Like she was very much like it's hard to explain in that sense, but like you could sense an aura of a star from her from the get-go, and like the generation that her generation. She thinks you could say will give birth to a new like a new stage of professional wrestling. She feels like it.
She would have been amazing at the Jagaya Chocolate Square.
彼女はチョコプロでは絶対何とかいろいろできたんだ。She's happy to hear it.
So the name Gatoh Move in ChocoPro. Having to, because it seems from the outside, it seems we're trying to push away the name Gatoh Move and go to ChocoPro. How difficult is that to rebrand yourself from one name to another?
何かガトムーブとかにチョコプロに行ってたんですが、外から見ると結構ガトムーブを置いててチョコプロに移動してるって見えるんですけど、これは自分に対しても名前変わってて、いろいろブランドも変わってたんじゃないですか。これするのは大変だったんですか？
やっぱりガトムーブはチケットも販売してたし、ガトムーブ待ってるお客さんがいるから、じゃあガトムーブがこうなりましたって言ったらついてこれない人もいると思うので、それは大切にして、私はいつかお客さんを入れたショーをやりたいとも思ってるから。
So she says, yeah, first of all, the fact that like they had sold tickets for Gatoh Move shows, people would come to Gatoh Move shows. It felt like from the beginning what they were doing now was something different from Gatoh Move. And also like they couldn't just say like, okay, we are doing Gatoh Move here now, so please come here. It would be really hard hurdle for them to jump. They have done for like 10 years, like no, not 10, like 7 years. They have been with them. So she thought like what they were doing was different. And in that, of course, they want to go back. Like they want to do a show with a live audience. They want to bring Gatoh Move back for the day when they can do that. And that day they will do a Gatoh Move show like they have done before. So because she wanted to keep that she will go back to that where she was, she thought like, okay, we need to have a new brand. We need to do something new because we are doing something new. They need to change the name and make it a new brand.
Yeah, so it's like two separate entities basically.
いや、何かもう別々のもの。No kanji. She says yes. They are very different entities in her as well.
All right. So the last woman standing matches you guys were doing, was there any concern about doing matches one single match that long in keeping the audience? Was there any concern about that at all?
ラストマンスタンディングマッチどうやってたんですか。で、これには一つだけ試合が結構長くやってたの時に、お客さんの注目とかが、お茶のアテンションとかがもっとつかないから、そんなちょっと考えたんですか、そんなことも。
なんかでも私も30分のシングルマッチとかやったことがなくて。
She says she has, even herself in her career, she has never had a single match of 30 minutes long. So,
なんかなんで自分もこうなってるのかよく分かってなかったから、ね。
she had no idea by herself how it turned out this way.
もちろん普通にガトムーブをやってたら、ラストウーマンスタンディングマッチやらなかったと思うし。
If it had been Gatoh move, there's no way that she would have done a last woman standing match.
ワンマッチっていうのがまずできない大会。
The very first time that does the big show we do like a single match shows, there's no way that would have been a possibility.
あとここまでそんなにユナモンとも深く話をしなかったから。
Like she has never even talked to Unamon that deeply and that philosophically and that as a person, as a wrestler.
あんな風なシチュエーションになることが彼女との関係もなかったから。
They didn't have such a strong relationship, so they could have that kind of something. They could build something like that. They didn't have that before.
本当に今だからできた試合なのかな。
She thought that match was a match that happened and could be done because it was right now. Everything that happened right now.
どっちを応援したの？
Who did you cheer for? Joshi Pod, she's asking. Very
No
Sakura.
No comment.
No.
Wow, no comment. Your personality. No comment. Wow.
I like pineapples. I'll say that.
Ah, okay. Good. Pizza.
How proud of, as a trainer and a wrestler, how proud of Emi is it to see Yuna and May have an Iron Man match and have Unamon hang with Emi in an Iron Man match? How proud of her is she seeing her wrestlers step up and do these things?
自分のトレーナーもあるし、自分の団体の選手たちが自分全員桜さんから教えてもらってデビューしてるんじゃないですか。これに見るとどれほどの何か誇りという自分の何か自分がやってる新しいなんとかな。ユナモンとメイちゃんがアイロンマンやったりとか、ユナモンが桜さんとラストマンぐらいやったり試合できた感じには、なんかどんなふうに誇りとかなんとか持ってますか？
でも私はメイちゃんとユナモンのアイアンマン見たときに、これできない、私にはできないと思ってやっぱりなんかちょっとみんなすげえなと思って、今みんなに負けないようにするのが精一杯かな。みんなすごい。
She says when she watched the Iron Man match between May and Unamon, all she could think of while watching it by in herself like, there's no way I can do that. Like these are amazing. They're awesome. Like everybody is amazing. Like what they can adapt to and what they can perform at. And all she can do right now is trying not to lose. Like that is all. She says I have my hands full in trying not to lose to anyone, so I don't get left behind.
Is she surprised how well her performers, her group of wrestlers have adapted to ChocoPro?
何かChocProに自分が教えたことあったり、自分の選手たちがそんなにすごいように、なんとかな、アダプトはChocProのようにできたということがちょっとびっくりしてますか？
一番びっくりしてるのは、ルル、おとき、さゆり、ちえがガトムーブの時とも全然違うし、じゃあカメラをやるとかセコンドカメラマンをやるとかレフェリーやるとかなんて考えられなかったから、そういった意味では彼女たちに一番驚かされた。あとトークの時もそう。
She says the biggest surprise to her was like Otoki, Lulu, and like Sayuri and Chie. Like she couldn't even imagine giving them responsibilities like doing cameras and doing like second walks and doing like managing the show, like almost running being part of it as it's happening, like literally doing everything that is a part of doing a wrestling show. Even when they had interviews, all of them had like she was surprised by their growth and their adaptive capabilities, and that surprised her the most of everything.
That must make her feel pretty proud.
これではもう結構誇りで持つものですね。 Yeah, she is. She would
でも
not say it, by the way, but she is.
I'll say it for her.
That
She
is
should
fun.
she should be very proud.
何か絶対誇るになるべき。みんなすごい。
イエーイ
チョコプロのみんなすごいから。
ほんまにすごい。でも、やっぱり負けたくないって。
But by the way, she doesn't really thinks as a trainer. She thinks as a player. She's like, okay, all I want to do is not to get left behind and lose to these
例えば、
these ones.
求められるスキルが違って、ユナモンが、じゃあ、なんていうの、このアイコンじゃなくてサムネイル作った時に、すげえと思うし、リンリンとかがあんなに動画、もうエディットができると思わなかったから、プロレスラーが必要なのは試合だけじゃなくて、エディットとかも必要なんだなっていうのを。
She says when Yunamon would do like make thumbnails, she would go like, wow, like she can draw so well and she can like make up like creative concepts. And really making those videos and like doing everything other than that, like the very fact that wrestlers don't really need only wrestling. They don't need to have only matches. Like the possibilities that what they can do is endless, and that really got felt to her because of what they have adapted to.
So Emi seems like she's having a whole lot of fun being like Emi Pencil and things like that. How much fun is Emi having wrestling right now?
何か試合するのはどれほど楽しいですか？プロレスやるのは今。
なんか今まで以上に例えば桜のマーク送ってくれたりとか、なんか私たちは試合をしながら今もしかしたらこういうふうに言ってくれてるかもみたいな、みんなに会えるのも嬉しいし毎日。すっごい応援の数が増えてやりがいがあるかな。
She says, compared to before the Sakura marks and emojis in our chats and like while wrestling, she can think like, oh, people might be thinking that right now. Like the magnitude of cheers like multiplied a lot compared to before. So that really gives her the motivation to like really feel and have fun with wrestling right now.
Can she turn off the that she's running the show? Can she turn that off in her mind and just relax and wrestle? Can she ever do that, or is she so entrenched thinking about everything that she can't?
何か自分のいろいろ考えてやってるんじゃないですか。お客さんそう思ってることかこうだったるかこうだったるか。これターンオフして普通に試合楽しんだことできますか？
なんか
今やってることを楽しいだけで。
自分が楽しいだけ、レフリーをやってる時にやっぱりゴンとか、そのドクサルヤホーズとか、まあなんだっけ、姉ちゃんがピューってやるやつ。ピニャータとか面白いのがいっぱいあるからその時に一番楽しいかな。そして
考えないずに普通に楽しんでるだけ。She said,
なんだっけレフリー doing nothing.
They're doing nothing, yes. The referee is doing it. She says when she's reffing, that is the time. Like when she's reffing, there's like Gon shows up in a match, or maybe Doksara Yahos is doing something crazy, or maybe May's being a piñata, or maybe like Antonio Honda is doing something. Like those other times when she just thinks of nothing and she's like just having fun as like the closest audience and the only audience member who's there, and she's like she'll just have fun there. Like everybody says the ref does nothing, she's having fun. That's what she's doing.
So I was going to talk to you about some of the charms of ChocoPro, and one of them is how bad the refereeing is in ChocoPro.
なんかチョコプロにいろいろチャームがあるんじゃないですか。カリスマ、これチョコプロの一つのカリスマはレフェリーがひどい。これもあるから、これすごいって。Isn't it amazing the fact that if referees are bad, that is a charm?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But the contradiction of that is so good.
Yeah. And like, May is the worst referee ever.
メイちゃんが世界一ひどいラフィーだけど、世界一楽しい。
And we love it. And we love it.
でも世界一好きだって。
I love too.
I love it. Yeah, that is true.
So another charm of ChocoPro is people running to close the windows at nighttime to make sure the noise doesn't get out.
何か他のチャームとカリスマが、チャームがカリスマのようにものかな。次のチャームはみんな走って窓閉まったりし外になんか夜だから外に音が出ないように。That is also very true, yes.
What do your neighbors think about you doing these things at crazy hours?
でも本当に怖い。
She's pretty scared that they would complain or something. But it's got like a very good, like a mostly like a festive place. So there's like restaurants and stuff close by. So it's not that much of a bothersome. When everything was closed, that was a bit hard at that point. But now it's like everything's getting back together, so everything is okay.
So another charm I enjoy is watching Emi freak out when something could possibly break.
Yeah. 何か他のもう一個はちゃんは何か壊すかもしれないときに桜さんがびっくりすること。それはたまに普通に落としちゃうから。
本当？うん。そっか。
She didn't know about it. It's like, really? Okay. I need to make sure you guys don't watch it when I freak out. Somebody's about to break something.
We love it because we just we love Emi's misery for a couple minutes.
Yeah. これ時々だけに桜さんが何がなんていうかな。ひどい状態になってるのは結構楽しいだって。
So how did she decide to do the 25th anniversary show? How did that come about to do something like that?
25周年がやるのはどうやってそんな風になってたんですか？どうやってここでやるとかが、そんな風にやるのショーがどうやってなってたんですか？
今年その25周年をやるっていうのは私だけじゃなくて里村さんとか長嶋さんとか加藤さんとか、いろんな人が記念日があったけども。
So this year, like not just her, like a lot of other wrestlers at 25th anniversary as well. Satomura-san and the other wrestlers' names she said. Like everybody had, like a lot of people had their 25th and like big anniversaries.
みんなそれができなかった時に、もちろんお金も失ったけど、いろんなものを決断しなきゃいけない大変さっていうのをすごく感じたと思ってて。
So she felt like not like everybody lost money on those shows because they have already invested a lot in those shows, of course. But not just money, like they had to separate away and let go of a lot of things, and that she really felt that like people are losing a lot of precious things.
私もそのビッグショーっていうか自分のアニバーサリーショーをやる予定だったんだけど、まずそれを早く諦めることができたから。できることの中からやろうっていうことを考えられたのかな。
She says, but like she was supposed to do a big show for her 25th anniversary as well, but she was able to give up on it very fast. She read ahead and like, there's no way this thing is turning back in like 2-3 months. So let me give up on it, and she gave up on it very fast. And when she was able to give up on it, she can find out things that she could do from what she can, like what was possible. Like let's do what is literally that is possible to do. Yes.
ChocPro をやるようになって、ビッグマッチの定義が少し自分の中で変わって、一試合しかないことの方がビッグマッチっぽくなって、みんながすごい集中したっていうのがあって。
She says when she started doing ChocoPros, the very worth and the very fact of a big show changed in her mind. Like. For us, a big show is even less matches. Like we do one match on a big show, and people just concentrate on it. They can only concentrate on that one thing. Like this, the very concept of a big show changed in her mind. So when she was doing that,
でもだからこそ、じゃあもうちょっといっぱいやってみたらどうなるのかなと思って。
So she thought, so if in return we do more, because in ChocOpro big shows are one match shows. Those are pay-per-views, almost like that level of shows. So if we go in reverse and do a lot of them, how would it turn out? And that was her idea to go about 25th, like that anniversary show.
そしたら、あれ控室にこんなに人が入ったことがないということに気づいて。
And then she realized like our backstage had never had that many people. wrestlers.
部屋のお掃除をしました。
Then she had to clean and rearrange the place till 6 or like 6:30 in the morning, the day of the show.
Yeah, guys, I can attest that little room back there is not the largest room, especially for that many wrestlers. Was she happy with the way that show turned out?
何かショーがきっかけが終わった後で嬉しかったんですか？Yes, she says.
Good. Yes, I very much enjoyed the show. I liked having like you on the show. I think it added something a little different than normal. I really enjoyed having her on the show.
彼もすごい楽しかったってすごい楽しんだし、この大会を。で、ゆうちゃんを呼んだ時にも、何か違う絵もそんなになかったような違う差が開けてたから、これも結構楽しかったって。
なんかイギリスともつながりたくて。
So she wanted to, because she had strong roots in UK wrestling as well, she wanted to connect there, and the only thing she could think of was you from UK connections that she had.
Yeah. Is she surprised how well like Minoru Fujita was accepted by the Choco universe, whatever you want to call it? You know, the fans took him pretty quickly.
すっごいよこそでもらってたのはびっくりしたんですか？
何回追放しても帰ってくる。
She said no matter how many times she gets rid of him and throws him out of ChocPro, he comes back.
But I think the guests like that add a whole dynamic to the show, a very enjoyable dynamic.
なんか結構楽しいダイナミックが来るって、そんなゲストが来ると、ショーには。Yeah.
Because even like Chris Brooks coming in for shows, even though I'm waiting for the minute for Akki to vanquish Chris Brooks, but it's very fun to have Chris on the shows as well.
もう絶対アッキーがこいつをぶっ飛ばすっていうのは待ってるけど、クリスも来るときに結構楽しみになるし、いろいろ変わるから、新しい色が見るかなっていう感じであると。
クリスが来ると、そうね、負けないぞと思う。
She says when Chris shows up, she always thinks like, "Oh, I'm not losing to him."
帽子を返せるの。
And she wants to appeal, give that cap back of Pencil Army.
Yes, we have to find a way to get the hat back.
いや、何かどうしてかなんとかでこの帽子を返してもらえなきゃ。
なんかファンアートをいっぱい書いてもらえるようになって、それがすごく嬉しい。
That is like one of the big things that's changed, that happened all of a sudden was that now they have a lot of fan art from like people make posters, people make like fan arts and everything, which was in like a incredible treat to her. She's very, very happy every time she gets to see something like that.
This podcast is fan art for her.
このポッドキャストはガトモムのファンアートですよ。
ありがとう、Thank you.
Thank you very much.
But I won't go back into the story again. But
I told people 彼は本当にこのポッドキャストガトモムが広げたいためにこのポッドキャスト始めたから。She says, but thank you very much. Very deep thank you from inside.
これは変な話じゃないけど、ガトムーブは大きくなるのにすごく時間がかかると思う。なんか、だけどチョコプロは可能性をガトムーブよりも感じるかな。
She says it's not a weird story. It's not something like in a bad way. She just thinks like Gatoh Move. It will take a long time for Gatoh Move to become big because of the limitations that is on. But ChocoPro, it seems like she can see the possibilities of anything in ChocoPro.
私は高校生の時にプロレス好きになったから、プロレスを見たくてもお金がなくて、全然見れなくて、交通費もなかったから。
She says she for the first time she found wrestling when she was in high school. She loved it, but even if she wanted to, she couldn't watch wrestling because she didn't have enough money. She didn't even have money to go to the venues, like let alone buy tickets and stuff.
もちろん大人になって自分の好きなものを好きなように楽しめるようになるっていうこともすごく大事だけど。
Of course, like becoming an adult and working for what to enjoy, what you want to enjoy.
でも今チョコプロをやりながらあの時の私に向かってやってるみたいな感じ。
She said it feels like how we are doing ChocoPro. It feels like she is facing the girl who was in high school who couldn't watch wrestling at that point.
Yeah, ChocoPro the no paywall has made it very inclusive for people to anybody to watch it.
ノーペイボールがあるから誰でもちょっと見たことできるのはみんなが本当に見やすくなったって。
なんかね、クリスのおばあちゃんとクリスの犬が嬉しかった。
She said she was very happy when Chris's Chris' moms and like her dog were watching ChocoPro. Like Chris showed a photo of them watching ChocoPro to Emi Sakura. Says she was incredibly happy when Chris's mom and dog were watching ChocoPro on their TV.
So let's talk about one of the most popular, I think, segments of your shows, the Jenkin, the rock, paper, scissors tournaments.
私たちのChocoProのすごい有名な何かセグメントがじゃんけんの話しましょうって。
あれなんで始めたんだっけ？
何かしようって何感じだったです。Like she says she's just asked me why did we start doing junkins by the way, and I thought we thought like it would be fun. So.
And I think people look forward to that sometimes as much as the matches.
Yeah, 試合ぐらい楽しんでるって。Yeah, we feel that too because nobody leaves. There's like only 20 people leaves after the show ends. If we had like 400 people on the show, 380 people are going to see the junkin.
So how much fun this is for you and for her, Akki. How much fun are you guys having doing that?
じゃんけんにはどれぐらい楽しいですか？
いや、まずなんだろうな。
じゃんけん is brutal, bro. Like I'm just saying firsthand. Like the match are made in like super hurry because nobody had time to make them before. And when the show is like, oh, somebody put the pictures together, and everybody just does it. Somebody does it who's close to the poster thing, and that's how just like because it's always like random. So we have randomly found like super interesting cards in Junkin.
例えば新人と試合をするときに、
うん
もしかしたら負けるかもしれないけど、いや絶対今日は勝てると思う時があるけど、
うん
迫力があって知恵とかおときとか、
うん
ルールであっても、絶対負けたくないって気持ちになるし。
She says sometimes when she ends up facing the rookies, she's like, of course, like the rookies want to win and like she doesn't want to lose to them, but like at some point in that thing, it becomes like a very real thing. Like I don't want to lose to them because they come like they really come for your head. Like Lulu, Otoki, and like Chie, like and Sairi, like though they want to prove themselves. Like they are hungry for everything, so they really come after you, and you don't want to lose to them. They're like that is a very real like struggle every time. Like you have to like put yourself in the right mindset.
Who's like? Okay.
25周年の時のトーナメントの。
Oh, but that was incredible.
Yes,
Like on the 25th anniversary show, that Junkin tournament was legendary. Like that was something else.
That was amazing. Yeah. People in the chat room were going crazy for it. It was awesome.
Yeah. みんなチャットにはもううわーってなってた。That was the only way I could explain it. Like she said, that was the same amount of happiness she got from Jim.
How did she decide to have a piece of chocolate be the prize for the winner?
That's a very fun story. I'm looking forward to her telling it. どうしてチョコの一つがプライズになってたんですか？
なんか私たちがこの大変な世の中の中で何かできることっていうのはすごく小さいし、それこそ始めた時にいつ終わるか分かんないと思ってたから、ほんのちょっとだけ楽しさと思えば、こっちも気が楽だし、明日やらないって言ってもなんか大丈夫だから、そういった意味では、ほんのちょっとだけでいいんだなプロレスはと思ってる。
She says the fact that like it's okay for us to have a little bit of fun even in this time. It's okay for us to have just a little, not too much. And the fact that it might end tomorrow, like we really thought every time it might end tomorrow. So even if we end tomorrow, because it was just a little, it will be okay. Like that little part, the part where it's okay to have this much of anything. It's okay to just relax and take fun and like just really be in the moment for that little bit. And she was so it's okay. Like that's why how she thought about it, how putting that little bit of prize in there.
あとはチョコレートプロレスって言ったら、チョコレートたくさんプレゼントしてもらえるかなと思って。
She says because she loves chocolate, if she makes a company, the name of the company Chocolate for Wrestling, she might get a lot of chocolates from people. So that was also one of the motivations. And from my side, now she didn't say that too much right now, but she used to say, 一つチョコ分の幸せ? Like she used to say that in Japanese, which literally means like, how do you say that? A chocolate bit of happiness, a choco bit of happiness, like a little bit of happiness. So when I translated that was the only way I could translate it, a choco bit of happiness, like just a little bit, no matter how tough it is, no matter what happens, no matter how much you lose, no matter how tough it gets, you can always just have that little bit of, just a choco bit of happiness. She used to say that a lot in the beginning when she was like, every time she would have a chocolate, she would always say that. So that's how that chocolate prize came about. That's why everybody's so happy when they get it.
Yeah, it's like your ChocoPro title is the piece of chocolate.
Yeah, 何か本当にこのチョコの一つはチョコプロのタイトルだって。
本当。
That's very true, by the way.
So someday are we going to see a ChocoPro candy bar on the market?
何かいつかチョコプロのカンディバーも発表するんでしょうか？
そうだね。
Yeah, if you get big, probably. I would love to do so. Yeah. Chocolate's own brand, ChocoPro.
That's right, yeah. So you guys recently went back to the ring.
Yes.
Why did you guys decide to go back to the ring?
I'm happy that like this will be fun. Okay. 何かもう最近リンクショーやってたんじゃないですか？戻って。これどうしてやってたんですか？
チョコミントさんになんていうんだろう挑戦状、私たちを舐めるなよやってやるぜっていうそれだけサプライズ。
She says what she wanted to do. She was pretty nervous about it, and also it was a big hurt on our rocking bout in financially wise. But she says she wanted to challenge. She wanted to do something which would surprise and like even though it was so hard to manage it, she says she was like I don't like if anybody thinking like we are not still challenging stuff, don't think that. Choco Mints, be on your toes because we are going places. We are not stopping. So she wanted to do that, and that's why she went back to the ring.
So did she have to, or did you guys all collectively, like I'm guessing it's a group effort to come up with the idea of how you're going to shoot it, how you're going to block it. I don't know if the better word for it, but how you're going to block it and have certain, angles and things like that. How you guys decided to do that?
どうしてなんだかそのアングルにやるかとか、どこで止めるかとか、どこでこれプレゼントするかとか、これみんな全員考えてやってますかとか、坂さん考えてますかとか、どんなふうにやってますか？
私が今毎日考えてるのは料理のことなので、本当にその選手たちがいろんな人に出会っていろんなものを考えていろんなことを言ったことにファンの人が反応して、チョコプロが今出来上がってきてるっていう感じがする。それをちょっと形にしたら、今のチョコプロのショーができてる感じかな。
She says, this is a very good note. She says, all she thinks about right now is cooking, so it's not her, first of all. And the second thing is that like everybody is moving on it on their own. Everybody thinks in ChocPro, the members, they think they move, and that makes like a symphony almost. And whatever they do, the fans respond to it and resonates it indefinitely. And that everything that comes about together produces the ChocPro show that we have as of right now.
So this won't be released until right before Choco 50. Is she surprised that you got to 50?
このエピソードはチョコプロ50のすぐちょっと前に発表するから、これリリースするから、これサプライズですか？チョコプロ50できたって。
信じられない。まず10回目が信じられなかった。
She couldn't believe we did 10, like let alone 50. So she's incredibly surprised on it.
Does she have anything special planned for 50?
何か特別の予定があるんでしょうか？ 50で。
どうしよう。今は何も考えてなかったけど、これからでも考えるね。やる。
She says she will do something special. She hasn't thought of something incredible yet, but she plans to.
Okay. なんかやろう。
She says, let's do something. She just said that to me.
女子ポットが言ってくれたから今なんかやろうと思った。
Because you said it now, she's like super into it. She's like, okay, let's do it. People are looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we all have faith in Emi will pull something amazing off.
みんな信じてるって何かすごいことが起こる。
やばい。
Yes.
So, okay, I posted a picture from when I was at Ichigaya in, I think it was March or last year. I can't remember what it was. And people are seeing it now with fans there. And people are saying it looks weird to see pictures of Ichigaya Chocolate Square with fans.
Yes. 何か、彼はこっち行った時に写真撮ってたんですよ。お客さんがいた時にも。で、これは今のお客さんがチョコミントを見ると、これすごい変なように見える。なんかお客さんがいるのことが、代わりにすごい変だって。
いや、私はなんだっけ、アナログワープで、ウィンドウにチョコミントさんの顔を貼った時に、ちょっとあれと思って。
She says when they went to the analog dome of ChocoPro, she said the fact when they put on pictures of people's faces on windows, she said she was pretty like, what? Like that was a reaction after doing that herself.
なんかどんな形になるのかこれからわからないから。
Because she has no idea how ChocPro is going to end up.
一日でも長くプロレスを続けたいな。
She just wants to do it one more extra day of wrestling. That's all she wants. Just like let's do it one more extra day. Yes.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time. Where can we find you guys on social media?
Oh, thank you very much. This is Akki. You can check me out on all of the platforms like Instagram, on Twitter at Baliyan, BALIYN Akki, AKKI, Baliyan X Akki. Just do Twitter / that or Instagram / that. You can check out Emi Sakura in Emi Sakura / GTMV on both on Instagram and on Twitter. And the third of us from the third musketeer is May Suruga. You can check out at May / GTMV both on Twitter and on Instagram. And also, if nothing else, please do check out ChocPro.
Absolutely. And I'll put the links to the YouTube channel and all that kind of good stuff on the show notes as well.
Oh, thank you very much, Chris. Thank you.
You're welcome. And guys, we're looking forward to Choco 50 and Choco 100 and Choco 150.
Wow.
Me too.
Will it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Will it be weird, Emi? Last question before we go. Will it be weird to have fans back in Ichigaya?
最後の質問は、チョコプロじゃなくて、市街地広場にお客さんが戻るときに何か変になると思いますか？
泣いちゃ
She will cry, she says.
う。私のチョップが当たらないように気をつけてって。
She says, she will just say, people make sure my chops doesn't hit you. Be careful. That's the only thing she will announce before the show. The audience are here.
Well, guys, thank you so much, and we'll all be watching. And again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Chocolate.